One Arabian fairy and 1,000 tales. Hello, my friends. I am Marwa, your storyteller, basket weaver, oriental dancer, painter, Arabic calligrapher, herbalist. In our world, no one is just one thing. Our plant companion for this story is sage, and I will be sharing with you how I make sage water. You see, my friends, the things I mention at the beginning of my videos, I am not really a master at any of them. My approach to what I love is different. I follow a certain calling to play with new materials, new matter, new ways, new scents, and new forms. Every time I feel drawn to something, it's not about mastering it. It's about the process of exploring. Even when that goes against what society, family, or career paths expect from me. You know, the idea that we're supposed to focus on just one thing? For me, it's about mixing and experimenting with new ways to express myself. Like these videos, speaking through words has been a huge challenge for me. But now I'm exploring that too. And in doing so, I feel like I'm echoing what our ancestors used to do. The scientists, the artists, philosophers of ancient times, they never revolved around just one thing. They were interested in everything: medicine, philosophy, creating machines, drawing them, observing plants, and learning from them. And this way of viewing life, I think, is wholesome. It makes everything feel connected. The world isn't divided into separate parts. Everything is one. Like your illness isn't separate from how you live your life, just as your art isn't separate from your soul. And I love this way of seeing life. You know, knowledge is vast, so vast that one person alone can barely scratch the surface of it. That's why I believe in being playful with learning, to grasp some understanding of what life is about. We need to explore different topics, experiment with different paths in our careers, and not limit ourselves. I have realized that our education system doesn't really support this way of thinking. We're often pushed to focus on just one thing, and sometimes, in our pursuit of becoming the best at what we do, we end up cutting ourselves off, not just from other things, but from people and the world around us. That's why I think mastery is a little bit overrated. Personally, I would rather live in a world without masterpieces, but with more playful, open people, than a world where everyone is breaking themselves to figure out a specific problem. Maybe it's just my philosophy in life. This is what I've learned through my own experience. There's a saying in Sufism: when you consider, secrets are revealed. Through accumulation of experiences, we learn to choose wisely. And for me, life isn't about predicting the future. You move through your days, and somehow each day calls you into what's meant to happen. Sometimes everything comes all together in an unexpected, magical way. For instance, I went to art school, studying painting and sculpting. But after graduating, I couldn't see myself fitting into the art gallery scene. I felt called to explore other mediums. So I delved into cinematography and filmmaking. And for 2 years, my world revolved around cameras, editing, and stop-motion animation. completely different from what I spent 4 years learning. Now, while those 2 years were exciting, they were also tiring. It was no longer just playing around. It had become work. After that period, I felt the need to slow down and experiment again. And that's when I discovered watercolors. I spent 6 months falling in love with it and immersed myself in landscapes and all the techniques that brought them to life. But as always, the call to try something new came, and I dropped everything to explore new crafts. I experimented with knitting, embroidery, natural dyes, and other crafts, until I found basket weaving. Now, basket weaving, which I've practiced and taught since 2019, has stuck with me. It became a form of meditation, a craft that has brought depth and patience to my creative journey. Not to mention the curiosity to know more about plants has started growing with it as well. So you see, from painting to sculpting, video editing to animation, and now basket weaving, each step has been a part of my larger exploration. Through these experiments, I'm learning how to combine everything I've gathered. The way I think, the way I use my hands, and how I see beauty and light. Even my English evolved through time, and I bring it all together through storytelling. This journey isn't about mastery, it's about staying open to the world and letting curiosity guide me, and finding joy in the process. Somehow, what I want to do now wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't experimented with everything I mentioned before. Sometimes you feel purposeless, like you're wasting your time or not enjoying what you're doing. It can even make you feel sad or worthless, like you've wasted your effort. But I tell you, most of the time, these experiences somehow end up being essential to something you will do in the future. And if we could speak to our future selves, we would understand the meaning behind every little thing we immerse ourselves in. I first met sage in my grandma's garden, where she had the biggest, most fragrant sage bush I've ever seen. And I remember the first time I touched her leaves. But it wasn't until later in life that I truly understood the value of sage. You know, this plant has an ability to address so many different problems. You know how some plants are good for the lungs or the stomach and for the skin? You know, sage can do it all. It's like you can ask the plant for whatever you need, and she will deliver. Sage isn't a master of any one thing, but her openness and inclusivity allows her to heal in so many different ways. I see magic in that. I am many things, and I am none. The world around me is an invitation to seek more openness and growth in all directions. Until next time, so much love to all.